As of 2026, commercial lithium iron phosphate battery cells are produced at $50 to $60 per kilowatt hour, with manufacturing yields consistently above 95% and defect rates approaching statistical noise. Their volumetric energy density reaches 430 to 450 watt-hours per liter at the pack level, enabling compact battery designs suitable for modern EV platforms. By contrast, sodium-ion batteries still sell at $65 to $80 per kilowatt-hour, despite their cheaper raw materials. Their volumetric energy density remains around 300 watt-hours per liter, roughly 25 to 30% lower than LFP. These two facts alone already explain why the global battery industry looks exactly the way it does today. If sodium-ion were truly cheaper and equally compact, Tesla, BYD, and KTEL would not be piloting or testing it. They would already be deploying it at scale. They are not. The reason is not chemistry. It is manufacturing reality. Scale effects and hard physical limits. The most persistent myth around sodium-ion batteries is cost. On paper, sodium-ion looks unbeatable. Lithium, cobalt, and nickel are removed entirely. Sodium is abundant, geographically unconstrained, and inexpensive. From a raw material perspective, sodium-ion appears almost trivial to scale. The most overlooked advantage lies in the current collector. Lithium-ion batteries must use copper foil on the anode because lithium reacts with aluminum at low potentials. Sodium does not. This allows sodium-ion cells to use aluminum on both electrodes, eliminating copper entirely. That single change reduces theoretical material costs by roughly 30%. In a spreadsheet, sodium-ion wins decisively. But factories do not run on spreadsheets. LFP has already entered what battery engineers refer to as the terawatt-hour efficiency regime. Chinese LFP factories operate at extreme optimization levels, continuous operation, fully amortized equipment, mature suppliers, and near-zero learning losses. At this scale, marginal improvements compound brutally. Raw material savings no longer dominate cost. Yield, uptime, formation speed, and scrap rate do. This is where sodium-ion struggles. Sodium-ion anodes rely on hard carbon, not graphite. Unlike graphite, hard carbon lacks a globally optimized supply chain. Its production is energy-intensive. Its microstructure varies significantly by precursor, and batch-to-batch consistency remains difficult to control. These factors translate directly into higher scrap rates, longer formation cycles, and lower line utilization. As a result, sodium-ion factories cannot yet achieve the same yield stability as LFP. That is why, in real production facilities in 2026, sodium-ion cells remain $10 to $20 per kilowatt-hour more expensive. Despite their lower raw material costs, when you buy sodium-ion today, you are paying what engineers quietly call a novelty tax. Until sodium-ion reaches a comparable production scale, its cost advantage exists only on paper. The second constraint is energy density, and this one is not negotiable. The media loves quoting watt-hours per kilogram because it looks impressive. On that metric, advanced sodium-ion cells have reached 160 to 170 watt-hours per kilogram, close enough to LFP to create the illusion of parity. But vehicles are constrained by volume, not weight. Sodium ions have an atomic radius of approximately 1.02 angstroms, compared to 0.76 angstroms for lithium. This is not a technology gap. It is a physical limit. Larger ions require larger host structures, thicker electrodes, and more inactive material. The consequence is unavoidable. Sodium-ion batteries achieve around 300 watt-hours per liter, while commercial LFP packs already reach 430 to 450 watt-hours per liter. To match the range of an LFP vehicle, a sodium-ion pack must be 25 to 30% larger. In practical terms, that means a higher floor, reduced cabin space, smaller trunk volume, or compromised crash structures. In modern EV skateboard architectures, that space simply does not exist. This is why LFP remains the default chemistry for mass-market sedans and SUVs, not because sodium-ion is inferior technology, but because it is physically too bulky for long-range mobility. However, writing sodium-ion off would be a serious mistake, because where LFP fails, sodium-ion excels. Cold temperature performance is the clearest example. At -20 degrees Celsius, LFP batteries can lose 40 to 50% of usable capacity. Even worse, fast charging at low temperatures risks lithium plating, which permanently damages the cell. To mitigate this, LFP vehicles require active battery heating systems that consume energy even while parked. Sodium-ion behaves fundamentally differently. Thanks to more favorable low-temperature kinetics and electrolyte behavior, sodium-ion cells retain over 90% of their capacity at -20 degrees Celsius and can accept fast charging without preheating. CATL's 2025 test data confirms this performance gap clearly. For delivery fleets in Russia, electric buses in Canada, or energy storage systems in high-altitude regions, sodium-ion is not an alternative. It is the only chemistry that remains reliable year-round. A sodium-ion vehicle may offer shorter range in summer, but in winter, it can outperform LFP decisively in real-world usability. There is another advantage rarely discussed outside engineering circles: transport safety. Lithium-based batteries, including LFP, cannot be discharged to 0 volts. At 0 volts, the copper current collector dissolves, destroying the cell. As a result, lithium batteries must be shipped at roughly 30% state of charge, meaning every container carries stored energy and inherent fire risk. Sodium-ion batteries do not have this limitation. Because they use aluminum current collectors, they can be discharged to absolute 0 volts. In that state, the battery is chemically inert, effectively a brick. This hibernation capability drastically reduces insurance, warehousing, and transport costs, especially for grid-scale energy storage measured in hundreds of megawatt-hours. It is an advantage that never appears on spec sheets, but matters enormously at national scale. So, which battery actually wins long-term? From an engineering perspective, the answer is precise. LFP wins where compactness, maturity, and cost at scale matter most electric vehicles. That dominance will not be challenged for at least the next decade. Sodium-ion wins where LFP is weakest cold climates, absolute safety, and stationary energy storage. Sodium-ion will not kill lithium. It will redefine the battlefield, stabilizing supply chains and preventing another lithium price shock like the one seen in 2022. And in the end, regardless of which chemistry dominates each segment, the ultimate beneficiary is not a battery company. It is the consumer.